What happens when an adaptation from a 1950s manga is reintroduced to the West in a post 9/11 world? Well, it flops, and the animation company that made it goes under. Imagi Studios' 2009 rendition of Astro Boy was an ambitious project considering its original counterpart's history and post-war themes. Tetsuwan Atomu, or Mighty Atom, was created by the god of anime, Osamu Tezuka, in 1952. Compared to other creative works depicting the horrors of the nuclear bombs, dubbed hibakusha cinema, Tezuka's work was meant to provide a more hopeful tone towards the utilization of nuclear energy. In the following century, the character would have a few more renditions, with his only big screen release culminating in Imagi Studio. Astro Boy, despite its merchandising and fan base, was a box office flop, not even meeting its budget. As a result, Imagi closed down and plans for more movies went down the drain. Guess even McDonald's ads do not equal success. Despite the film's failure, it is an interesting take on the story Tezuka put forth. There are many modifications to the post-war and nuclear-centered themes, which were altered by the norms of Western animation. As such, the Hong Kong studio does reinterpret Tezuka's and hibakusha cinema's themes through the tropes of 2000s animation. These tropes are seen through identity searching, fantasy aspects, and politicized villains. A major theme seen in hibakusha cinema and Astro Boy is identity. Astro Boy's own identity is unclear to him, with original iterations having him navigate his ideas of who he should be while helping others. The film had him focus on discovering that helping people is what he was made for, the entire story surrounding this journey. Loss and search for identity are likely related to the treatment of the bomb survivors, and how they had to rebuild their lives after being abandoned by family, friends, and society due to their tainted blood. Such experiences resonate further in the modern Astro Boy's tale, literally being affected by an atomic blast, being reborn as a robot, and then abandoned by his own father. This leads to him running away and trying to find out who he is, while facing judgment from the government of Metro City, and his new friends on the surface. No, not the one from Megamind. I know what you're thinking, it's not that one. He even felt he needed to hide his robotic identity to be accepted. This reflects the same shame forced upon the survivors of the atomic bombs. In the end, he learns he is meant to be his own person and help others, accepting his human and robot sides. The concept of identity searching is a major trope seen in 2000s animated films. Kung Fu Panda, The Incredibles, even the Toy Story quadrilogy key in on trying to understand where one fits in, usually ending in self-acceptance and embracing themselves. This focus was likely inspired by questioning and restructuring of individual cultural identities after the 9/11 attacks. This, in tandem with the rise of social media, allowed several generations to express their identities in new ways, building communities with methods never seen before. A shift to cultural identity and individuality is represented in the films of the early 2000s and had major impacts in the films to follow. Imagi followed the trend and had Astro Boy adapt to the same formula, changing the story to open up possibilities of sequels after Astro come to terms with who he was. The fantastical aspects of 2000s cinema served to modify the original ideas of nuclear technology and Astro Boy's legacy, with the character's purpose being to provide hope in a world developing nuclear technology, released alongside cautionary tales and allegories like Children of Hiroshima and Godzilla. A duality is presented in the tech's safety and dangers. The film makes a change from the original story that puts direct focus on such a duality. The red and blue cores are said to be cleaner energy compared to nuclear, taken from a collapsing star, with the red being a shadow of the blue. Throughout the film, we see how different these items are. The blue core is usually used in hopeful scenes, giving life, allowing for scenes of wonder, and disabling the villain in the end.
Oh, nuts.
The red core shows destruction, corruption, and instability, leading to death and fear. It very much not so subtly, and I mean very not subtly, shows the good and bad of nuclear power.
Don't use the red core, the negative energy. We can't know how it will behave. It's pure positive energy.
If the red and the blue core come together, well, you both die.
Survivors face so much fear and pain because of the bombs, ranging from illness to genetic disorders to even psychological symptoms. This was confirmed by scientists, and, just like Astro Boy, a positive side existed alongside the bad. J. Robert Oppenheimer, in an interview, spoke passionately on the bomb development, acknowledging the wonders of the tech, while stating that there were dangers surrounding instability. These themes also fit in with the 2000s animation story norms, especially when discussing fantastical escapism. With the rise of CGI animation, visuals became spectacles, captivating the audience and drawing attention to important plot devices. The red and blue cores fit into this trope perfectly. Other films have used similar ideas, like Meet the Robinsons and Atlantis: The Lost Empire. The alteration changes Astro from a robot powered by nuclear energy to a robot running on a two-sided mythical energy. So while the cores are not exactly original, they do draw attention and shift the original themes to the forefront while modernizing them. Again, not subtle, like, at all. Finally, Villains are one of the major changes made between the original Astro Boy and Imagi's remake. Instead of Dr. Tenma, Astro's father, being the villain, he is a neutral character who, while he still abandons Astro, eventually accepts and cares for him. This is actually one of the changes Astro Boy fans enjoyed, as well as the fact that he's voiced by Nick Cage. I mean, I can hate this guy. Look at him. Instead, a political figure is made into the main villain, President Stone. Stone is an uncaring man, only wanting security of both the floating metro city and his title as president, intending to wage a war to secure his presidency. This leads to him indirectly causing Toby's death by opting to use the red core for its power, using it again to hunt Astro down and nearly destroying the city as a robot kaiju. That seems very familiar. The character himself mocks the government bigwigs that use force and fear for their gain. Astro Boy's age presents another side of the argument, criticizes the government all the same, referencing Japan's lack of decent patriarchal leadership at the time of Astro Boy's original release. It not only instilled hope in technology, but also a newer generation. Stone's lack of care for the common folk, manipulation of the rules, and corrupt tactics can be associated with such views, and how Allied governments treated Japan after the war. He both reflects and opposes President Truman, who spoke about the bomb's devastating effects and saw the destruction as necessary to end the war. The official order to drop the atomic bombs had the action seem organized and well planned. Stone, on the other hand, counteracts these ideas of stability and organization through his destructive tendencies. Like other animated villains in the 2000s, like Syndrome and Mr. Waternoose, he also represents the political anxieties of a post-9/11 world, especially surrounding ideas of security, fear of terrorism, and control, which caused many points of conflict during the War on Terror. Stone has views of the surface dwellers as terrorists or enemies, and his motivations for power are based on that hatred. Yet, he is completely disproven at the end of the film, showing that they could all accept each other. This does instill hope, but not looking too likely today. In all, Stone serves as a change from the source material to embody the overarching dangers of tech being used in the wrong hands. In the end, Astro Boy added to this list of politicized, fear-mongering villains, yet Stone's actions and personality serve to support and build upon the original themes. Yes, this film didn't do too well, and it definitely deviates from the source material to fit into what was popular at the time, but it seems to fit into what Tezuka and other Hibachi cinema artists were trying to discuss. There's a danger in nuclear technology, and the impact that catastrophes can have on the individual, the government, and the world often leave one longing for an escape. But there's also hope for a better tomorrow, and despite the conformity to 2000s tropes, which alter the original themes, the film still instills that hope in the audience. Sometimes cliches may not harm stories, but can aid in reinforcing preset themes that need a push to be accepted by broader audiences.